Hello, sisters. Welcome to the Sacred Medicine Podcast, weaving powerful, soulful practices into functional medicine. Step into this beautiful space of devotion and explore everything from nurturing foods, rituals, sexuality, and awakening your innate sensuality. It is time to own your radiance. This is the Sacred Medicine Podcast. Hello and welcome back to another week of the Sacred Medicine Podcast. I'm your host, Margaret Romero, and this week we have a repeat guest, Melissa Ambrosini, and we are talking all about her upcoming new book called Open Wide, a radically real guide to deep love, rocking relationships, and soulful sex. I just love the name and the title of this book. So I was so excited to get a review copy and go through it. So today we are talking all about her book, and one of the things we talk about are crystal clear communication and how she practices that in her current relationship. We also talk about soulmates and what that really is, what that means to her, and what that actually looks like. And then we also talk about a soulmate ritual. So she leads us into a small ritual, which I totally love. We also talk about attributes of a man or partner that you are wanting and what is really, really important here. I hope you enjoy. There's just so much juiciness to this conversation. And if you are looking to get her new book, she has got some awesome bonuses coming out. So you will get a link in the show notes for all of that information. And on to the show. And today's special guest is Melissa Ambrosini. Thank you so much, Melissa, for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. And you are one of very few people who actually pronounce my last name correctly. So well done.
Oh, okay. Great. Well, we are talking all about your book that is coming out. It's called Open Wide, the radically real guide to deep love, rocking relationships, and soulful sex. So I'm really excited about talking about this new book. Tell me one of the reasons that really had you like, I need to write a book about this.
Well, basically, humans are hardwired for intimacy and connection. It is in our DNA, and it's what makes life so rich and juicy and joyful is our interactions with other people. And we are in relationship to all things in all ways at all times. Yet we're born into this world and we're not taught how to navigate our relationships. We're not taught how to be in a partnership, whether it's with a lover or a friend or a family member. We're not taught the rules. That's kind of like sitting down to a game of chess and no one teaching you the rules. It's crazy. I mean, I don't know how to play chess. And if I was to sit down with a chessboard, I would be very confused. So this is basically the modern girl's guide to deep love, rocking relationships, and soulful sex, because I believe that is what we're here for. We are here to experience deep love, rocking relationships, and soulful sex. And that is why I wrote this book, because it's the book that I wish someone had have given to me earlier on in my life. Mm-hmm. You know, all of my books that I write and all of the programs that I create and everything that I do is stuff that I wished I had have had. It would have saved me a lot of time, stress, tears, and money on therapy.
Yeah.
And so that's why I wrote it. And it was very divine. It just came through me when I actually sat down and beat resistance and sat down to write this book. It flowed and came through me and was divinely guided by what Elizabeth Gilbert calls your muse. I say the divine, and that it just flowed through me. And I'm so happy with the outcome because it's already helping so many people.
Oh, I love it. So, one of the things that I really love talking about on this podcast is empowering women on many different levels. And one of them is through relationships. And I know you have the most beautiful, soulful relationship with your partner. And I wanted to find out a little bit about some of the things that, one of the things that you talked about in the book is about crystal clear communication. And, obviously, I think a lot of us have not been taught how to communicate with vulnerability and openness and full truth. And I'd love for you to talk to us about what crystal clear communication means to you and how you practice it with your partner.
Mm-hmm. That is the foundation of every relationship, crystal clear communication. I call it CCC, and it is the cornerstone of my relationship and all of my relationships, just to be clear. But I just want to, before I dive into that, I wanted to tell you that intimacy, why intimacy and vulnerability are so important in relationships, not just with your lover, but with your friends and with your family, everyone, and your children. Why vulnerability and intimacy is so important is because vulnerability breeds trust. And vulnerability makes you connect and lean in. And as a result, you deepen your connection, you deepen your relationship. And I don't know about you, but I'm not here for superficial, boring relationships. Like, I want to get deep. I want to really get to the heart of the matter. I want to be able to support you. I want to go deep. I don't want to stay on the surface and talk fluff. I really want to talk heart to heart and really get deep. So vulnerability and authenticity are so important because of those reasons. They build trust. They make people lean in and they connect us. So that's why it's so important. And the way that we do that, the way that we are vulnerable, is by practicing what I call crystal clear communication. And crystal clear communication is, there's two types of communication with anyone. There's crystal clear communication, and then there's vague, wishy-washy, egoic communication. And one is from your head and one is from your heart. And crystal clear communication is when you sit down with someone, whether it's your beloved or whether it's a friend or a family member, and you open your heart and you take a deep breath and you get really present and you communicate from your heart space, as opposed to from your head, which is vague, wishy-washy, egoic communication, which I have done for many, many years in my life until I understood the power and the potency and the importance of CCC. And when you communicate from your heart, practicing crystal clear communication, you will reach the other person's heart. But if you practice, communicating from your head, you'll reach the other person's head and you'll get an egoic response back. So for me, it is the cornerstone of my relationship with my husband. Anytime there is a disagreement or a breakdown in our relationship, someone has failed to practice CCC. And it doesn't matter who. It's not about pointing the finger and going, well, you didn't practice and it's your fault. It's not about that. It's in that moment, it takes a strong person to say, hey, we're not practicing CCC right now and we need a pattern break. So I'm going to go for a quick walk and then I'm going to come back, and when we're ready, let's practice CCC together. And that is the dialogue I have with my husband, or I'll say to him, I need to practice CCC with you right now. And he'll be like, okay, go, shoot. and I will speak from my heart. Or I'll say, hey, baby, I don't think we're practicing CCC right now. I'm going to go wash my face, and when you're ready, let me know. And it has changed my relationship, and it's changed my life. And it is my goal in all of my relationships. How crystal clear can I be with my mum, with my son, with everyone in my life? And when you practice it, your relationships start to flourish and rock and deepen and be more connected and soulful. But it's a daily commitment, and something that I'm deeply committed to, because life is so much more rich and joyful when we do.
So do you have sort of a set of questions that you go through, or things? Because I think it's hard for people to really be vulnerable and speak from their heart. It's hard for people to really say the truth to that other person, whoever it is. And so when you're with your mom or your husband, is there like a few steps that you go into, or things that you say before, that's pretty routine? Not routine, but is there a way that you go about doing it? How the wording around it, I guess, the languaging around it.
Yeah, absolutely. So awareness is absolute key. So you've got to be aware in your body and not in your head. And it's a feeling for me. And you're either open or you're closed. In every moment, you're either open or you're closed. And if I feel myself closed and wanting to shut down and not wanting to open up and be vulnerable, I say to myself the mantra of my book: open wide, Melissa. Open wide, open wide. And I literally visualize every cell in my entire body opening up like a lotus flower and softening. And when every cell in my entire body is open, my heart is open, my heart is open, sorry, my head is open, I'm able to be in the moment fully and receive the person in front of me fully. And so that is my mantra. And it's not only do I say the mantra, I also physically feel my cells open. That is how I open up and be vulnerable and authentic with and intimate with the people in front of me.
I love that. Okay, so one of the other things that I really wanted to talk to you about as we dive into this beautiful book that you've created is talking about soulmates and soulmate relationships. And I would love to hear what you feel a soulmate is. And I know that there are many soulmates that come into our lives, and friends, and they don't have to be lovers necessarily, or future, marriage partners. But what do you feel soulmates are, and how do you know if someone is a soulmate?
So I believe your soulmate, and you can call it whatever you want. You can call it the one, you can call it your soulmate, you can call it your twin flame, whatever you want. It doesn't really matter, whatever resonates with you. Mm-hmm. But I love the term soulmate. I just think it's really beautiful, and I have no attachment to the word. I don't feel triggered either way. It's just quite a neutral word, and I like using it. So for me, I believe that your soulmate is whoever you declare it to be. And if you declare 10 people to be your soulmate, then go for it. If you want to give that title to one person, then the choice is yours. You get to decide. And if you want to have 2 or 3 soulmates in your lifetime, then great, go for it. So it comes back to you. Who do you want to give that title to is very important. That's the first thing. The second thing is, again, it comes back to awareness. How do you know if someone's your soulmate? It's a feeling in your body. Are you open? Are you closed? Are you expanded or are you contracted? Following your intuition, tuning in. And that is how I know. Like when I first got together with my husband, there was no doubt that we were actually talking about this on our walk this morning. And I said to him, he said, how come you were so open when we first got together? Because, we were exploring a lot of different tantra things, and we were really, really open. And he said, why do you think you were so open? I said, well, I knew you were my one. And he's like, wow. And I said, I just knew. I had no doubt. He said, but you were so open, like sexually and both emotionally. He said, you were very open. And he knows that I haven't always been like that. I've been very closed, and very closed in my sex chakra, and also very closed in my mind. So he said, what was it about me? And I just said, I knew. You were my one. I just knew. And he said, how do you know? And I said, I can't explain it. I just knew. And I know that when we got together, we have been together in many lives before. It was like the final puzzle piece of my puzzle clicked into place. It's like I could exhale. It's like I felt like I had arrived home. I knew we had been together before in many lives. And it just is. And it was quite effortless and easy, I guess. There wasn't much thought process. It was more about divine guidance and just showing up. And people had said to me, some of my friends that were with their soulmates had said, when you know, you know. And I used to think, whatever. That is the biggest load of BS I've ever heard in my life. But when I got together with Nick, I thought, oh my gosh, I know. This is what they talk about. This is what everyone says. When you know, you know. And I thought, well, now I know. He's the one. He's my one. He's my soulmate. And so it really comes back to a feeling. How does it feel in your body? It's a feeling. Deep in your heart, your intuition, your gut, whatever you want to call it, knows. And then you get to give that title to someone else. You get to give that title to whoever you desire.
And when did you actually feel this connection? Like, oh my God, Nick is my soulmate. Was it immediate? Was it after a few dates?
I knew something was very special from the first time we connected. Like I knew something was different and special. Like I knew it was different. I knew it wasn't like all of my ex-partners. But I didn't really know, because you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what you haven't experienced. So I was kind of like, oh, what is this? And I just kept on following that. So I couldn't articulate it because I've never experienced it before, but I just thought, oh, something's bubbling away here that's very special. It's very beautiful. It's very special to me. And then, I think maybe on the second date or the third date, I knew. I absolutely knew. And we spoke about getting married, and we spoke about being together. And before that, neither of us wanted to get married or have children. And, people had always said to me, do you want to have kids? And with my past partners, I would say, no, it's not for me. It's not for me, because I realized that was my mean girl trying to convince myself that it was okay that I was with someone that wasn't my truth. And I believe, when you're with the one, then, you want to get married, and you want to be with them and feel that. So for me, it was very, it was very instant. Wow. I just knew we would speak about our wedding and getting married, and we visualized it. And it's really interesting, on that second or third date, I can't remember exactly, we just laid in each other's arms in the dark, and we hadn't made love at this point, and we were just laying in each other's arms describing our wedding. And about 5 or 6 months later, we got married, and it was exactly what we had described to each other that night.
Oh, wow. Beautiful. Because I read that you were engaged after 2 weeks. Is that right?
Yes. So after that, we got engaged after 2 weeks. And then, about 5 or 6 months later, we were married. And that was, 4 years ago now. And, we're still like in infancy stages of our marriage and our time together, but it's beautiful and rewarding, and so much growth and so much evolution all the time, which is great, which is what you want in a conscious partnership.
Yes.
You're there to help each other and support each other to grow and evolve to their fullest potential.
Now, you walk through this beautiful ritual in your book about how to be open or attract a soulmate. Can you walk us through a little bit of that? I would love to hear it from you.
Yeah, sure. Well, before you even really consider or create space to call someone in your life, I believe you have to have a level of self-awareness, and you have to have a level of self-love, because of course you can get together with someone and you can grow and evolve together, and you can deepen your own self-love journey together. But I feel like there's got to be a level of consciousness, a level of responsibility, awareness, and self-love before you enter a partnership. So if you're not at that place, I would highly recommend doing a little bit of a deep dive within yourself, and, starting meditating if you don't already meditate, and just sit with yourself. Ask yourself some deep questions about what it is that you desire. What are your values? What are your interests? What are your desires? And that's what one of the whole chapters, Diving Into Your Ocean, in the book is all about exploring. It's about understanding what it is that you want in your life, because if you aren't clear, how are you going to call in anyone else in your life? You have to be clear on your values, on your desires, on your interests, on your beliefs before you call anyone else in.
So true.
And so I really want everyone to do a little bit of self-exploration and self-study, or what I call your spiritual sit-ups, before you think about opening the door to a love. And in that process, get really clear on the type of union that you desire. How do you want to feel when you're with your beloved? What type of magic do you want to create in the world together? What values do you want to share? What values are you not willing to negotiate on? What values are you willing to be flexible with? For example, some people, are really flexible on their religious values, and they might think, what, I'm totally open. If someone comes to me and they're Jewish and they want me to convert, I'm open to that, or whatever it is. But then there's other values like parenting, for example, or money beliefs that, it's really important that if you don't believe in smacking your children and then you start dating someone who believes in hitting, then you're going to be in for a tough ride. Mm. So it's really important that you get crystal clear on your values, your desires, your beliefs, and your interests, which is what the whole chapter Diving Into Your Ocean is about. And same with money beliefs. If you believe that, you vote with your dollar and you're a conscious consumer and you're very mindful of where you spend your money, and then you date someone who gambles and is very frivolous with their money, then it might not be aligned. Mm-hmm. So it's really important that you do that self-exploration before you call in your beloved. And then once you have done that, you get clear on the type of person that you would like in your life. You know, what do you want to create together? There's a whole bunch of questions that you can ask yourself in Open Wide. And then what I suggest is acting as if and feeling grateful for that person and act as if that person is already within you. Because I believe that your partner doesn't fill a void in you. You aren't there to complete each other. You're there to complement each other. And I always say, like, I am already this beautiful, delicious, gluten-free, sugar-free, raw, dark chocolate muffin. And he is the cherry on top. Like, I don't need the cherry. I'm already delicious and amazing on my own, but he gives my life that little bit of sparkle, that little bit of color. And he compliments me, and he's an amazing person to hold hands through life, and we make a great team. But in my past, a lot of the relationships where I filled a void in them and they filled a void in me. And when you enter a union with that as your intent, there is an expiration date. It will expire. So it's best that you feel complete and whole within yourself first, and you enter a union with someone else who also feels whole and complete within themselves. And then when you come together, it's just freaking magic and fun. You know, it's not about trying to fix or change or improve the other person or fill a void in me and I fill a void in you. Like in my past relationships, I wanted to be saved and I dated men that liked saving women. So it was perfect. We were like a match made in heaven. But, you know, that they have expiry dates, and it's best to come together from that full, whole and complete space as opposed to empty.
I also think that there's something else that you added in this chapter was talking about when you are thinking about that partner and what attributes you would like him or her to have. I think you go a little beyond just the physical attributes. Can you talk a little bit about that and the importance of that?
Oh, yeah. This is really important, you know. It's not so much about the physical. It's more about the feeling. Like, how do you want to feel when you are in the arms of your beloved? What do you want to create in the world together? You know, we go deep into uncovering that. How do you want to feel? What do you want to create? Not so much I want him to be 6 foot, brown hair, blue eyes, to have this profession. For me, it's far more important that we are connected on a deeper level and share similar values and desires and beliefs. And how I want to feel when I'm in his arms is I want to feel deep love, respect, and reverence. I want to feel connection. I want to feel heart-to-heart, soulful connection. I want to feel heard and seen. I want to feel comfortable and safe to open wide. Because if you don't feel safe with your beloved, you can't open your sex chakra and you can't open your mind. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's how I desire to feel when I'm with my beloved. So making a little list of how you want to feel and then reading that every day and feeling it. Don't just read it and say it. Like, really feel it. Like, what does that feel like to feel safe enough with someone that you can open wide and have them penetrate you and have them, you know, go deep within you physically and emotionally what does that feel like for you? Connect with the feeling. Connect with the feeling, because then when you connect with that feeling, you raise your vibration and you will start to attract someone else who is on that same vibration. That's how you call them in.
And I love that. And were you practicing this before you met Nick?
Absolutely. So I was reading, before we got together, we were both reading some of David Dieter's books. I'm not sure if you know him.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, he's amazing. So
Yes.
a few months before we actually got together, I was reading Dear Lover and he was reading The Way of the Superior Man. And we didn't know this until we, like, a few months into being together. And those books were quite pivotal for us. And so I started, reading those books and thinking, well, this is the type of union that I desire. This is how I want to feel. And I thought, why has no one ever taught me this?
Right.
Why has no one ever told me that I don't have to model my parents' relationship and I can have deep love and I don't have to nag my husband and, I don't have to treat him poorly. And for me, reading those books was life-changing because it opened me up to a new paradigm. And from there, I started journaling and I got really clear on all of those things that we just spoke about. I got really clear on the type of union that I wanted to call in, the values that we shared, the beliefs, how I wanted to feel. And I would journal and meditate on it, and journal and meditate and journal and meditate with crystals and rose quartz crystals and meditate and journal. And I did this for like a few months before I came together with Nick. And the moment that we came together was so perfect. Like, it couldn't have been a day sooner because neither of us were ready. It was like all of a sudden, click.
Wow.
We were ready.
Yeah. That's amazing. And so when he met you, when you guys met at the first date, was it also very somewhat instant for him? Did he feel an instant connection to you?
Well, we had actually known each other for 3 years before we got together. We had lots of mutual friends and we'd bumped into each other at a few events and things like that. But he was in a partnership and so was I at that time. And so it's like the universe was, if it was a cartoon, it's like a black cloud was over him. And the universe is like, you're not ready to see each other yet. You're not ready yet. You're not ready yet. And we never really spoke a lot. It was really weird. Like, when I think back to the parties that we were at, the events that we were at, that we were both at, it's like there was a barrier. And of course, he was in a relationship, I was in a relationship. So there was also that as well. Like, you don't really allow yourself to think, or
right.
I didn't allow myself to really think anything. Like, I thought he was very handsome, and that's about as much as I allowed myself to dive into. But when we talk about it, he says a very similar thing. He says that he knew straight away. He knew something from the first date. He knew something was bubbling and about to erupt. He couldn't really put his finger on it either. But he knew it was really special and he knew it was divine. And he just kept on following that too, that feeling. And yeah, for him, these are his words. He says that for those 2 weeks where he was searching for the stone, because he proposed to me with a very rare Australian sapphire, which is the stone of destiny. And he had like a whole bunch of gemologists and jewelers looking for this stone all over Australia.
Wow.
And he was so determined to find one. And so for those 2 weeks where he was searching for this stone, he said that the whole 2 weeks he just felt like a puppet being guided by the divine or the universe or whatever. Like he just would get in his car and drive to the jeweler's. Like there was no thought process. It was pure presence, pure divine intervention, and he was a puppet and he had no choice. It was just totally choiceless. And then, the next thing you know, he's on his knees proposing to me, and he's like, I didn't think about it. I just did it. And when we get out of the way and we get out of our head, that is when the magic can flow and unfold.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. If we're trying to force things into action or try to make things the way we want it to be, it's just not how it should flow. So I love how he just went along with it.
Yep, absolutely. He just followed the feeling.
Exactly.
Which is, how we live our life now, by following our intuition. It's how we live our entire life. Every business decision is based on my intuition. Every personal decision is based on intuition. That is how I run and live my life.
So important. So key. I mean, you're either expanding or contracting, like you had said earlier, with any decision. And I think that a woman's intuition is just so powerful, so strong. And if we could just allow ourselves to open up to it and really listen to those feelings that come up, whether it's a business partner you're thinking about, hiring or taking on, or even picking an apartment or a new office space or a job. How do you feel when you're around that? Sometimes I think that we can definitely be in our mind, like, well, this job has offering look at all of these benefits, but I don't really feel like doing it. But this other one doesn't offer that much, but I would love it. I would just love doing this so much more. And so we're always sort of weighing things. And I think if we leaned a little bit more into our intuition and how we felt about things, our bodies can answer everything because it really knows.
Absolutely. Your body always knows.
It knows. So it's just, it's amazing. And let's see here. So tell us when this book is coming out and how can people find you?
Well, it will be out in America on March 6th. So depending when this airs, it will be out March 6, 2018. And you can head to melissaambrosini.com/open wide to find out where you can get it online, Amazon, all of the online stores. You can also get it in stores. And you can also check out, I have a masterclass that you get for free when you get the book as well. So a free video masterclass. So make sure you check that out as well. And head to melissaambrosini.com/open wide.
Now, I also know that you have a ton of bonuses that are going to be for a very short period of time, and the bonuses are just phenomenal. But I know that can people, if they wanted to, do you have another date as well that's if it's coming out before March?
Yes, so it comes out in Australia on December 18. So if you're in Australia, December 18, or in New Zealand, December 18, it'll be in bookstores, but you can and online. But you can pre-order it now. And if you pre-order now before December 18, you can get your hands on a whole bunch of epic bonuses. But after the 18th, the bonuses are closed. So depending when this airs, jump on and pre-order and get your bonuses. And this is for worldwide, wherever you are. All you have to do is submit your receipt and you can get some bonuses.
Yes, this will definitely be airing before the 18th. It's probably going to be coming out on the 13th.
Great.
Yeah, so you try to definitely get these bonuses. I took a look at them and they are fantastic. I mean, more than I've ever seen a book with bonuses. This takes the cake. So if you are looking to take advantage of these bonuses, you have until December 18th. And so you can easily get that, pre-order it online. And then they don't have to wait for the book to get the bonuses, or do they?
Well, the bonuses will be sent out on the 18th or after the 18th. You've just got to give us some time to collect all of the emails and get everyone's bonuses organized. So probably from the 19th onward.
Okay.
And even if your book doesn't arrive till a bit later, yes, you will get the bonuses then before, which is really exciting.
Oh, this is so great. Now, is there anything else that we didn't discuss that you really wanted to make sure that my audience knows about? Anything about the book that you feel like, well, there's just one little tiny thing that you really need to remember? Anything? Or did we hit up on some major topics there?
We really did, but I want to just remind everyone listening that you can experience deep love, rocking relationships, and soulful sex. It is your birthright in this lifetime to experience that. And I want to help you experience that. So pick up a copy of Open Wide and let's go on this journey together. It's so much fun.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Melissa, for coming on, for sharing your wisdom about really creating deep love and attracting, soulmate partner into our life, that it's completely possible. It's definitely possible. You're living it. So thank you so much for being here today. And I look forward.
Thank you.
I look forward to connecting again, and good luck on the book.
Thank you so much, beautiful lady. Thank you for having me and holding this space. I'm very grateful.
Oh, you're welcome. Take good care now. Thank you so much for listening, and for all the show notes, head on over to margaretromero.com/episode 59. And if you are not following me on Instagram, head over there. I try to Insta story almost daily and put some empowering quotes and information on there about upcoming events that are going on in New York City. So love to you all. Thank you so much for listening, and talk to you next week.